Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. What's up, motherfuckers? Let's go. We're here. We did it.
Everybody.
We are doing it upright. There we
Are
go.
we?
Oh, you're loud. Holy shit.
Deal with it.
Email is saying very underrated arc. I feel like email's not going to love how we're coming into this one.
What?
Well, I feel like our thought isn't exactly like this is underrated.
I think it's interesting that people, because I've talked to quite a few, and they really love this arc.
I know a lot of people who really love it. For me, it's like, it's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
do.
bad. We have a lot of thematic depth we get to explore. What I find weird is I find there are a lot of people I know who love it, and a lot of people who hate on Fishman Island, and I kind of just like Fishman Island a lot more.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. How do we feel about Momo? What a question.
How do we feel about Momo?
Yeah.
That's a boy.
Momonosuke. He's a boy. He's a dragon.
He's a dragon.
Are you happy you got another dragon? You got a third dragon.
No, I'm really
People
quite
love NPC law.
I'm
really should have been 2 streams probably.
Quite pissed off about the dragons that I've got.
Thriller Bark not being 2 streams is kind of part of the reason why we're taking things slower now, because we realize we want to give things time to breathe.
I do wish that Thriller Bark had been 2 streams. I feel like we just did it dirty. But we had fun.
It was just so funny is the thing that like it's
It was
hard to
just
regret it because as much as we didn't do a thorough review, it was just a
That's what I'm
hilarious
trying to
stream.
say. Like, oh well, we didn't review it thoroughly, but we laughed.
5 subs. Thank you, Parker.
We did so much laughing. I mean, don't forget that.
People really want to know if you like Momo.
The kid? Why?
Why? Can I say at this point of the story, I fucking hated Momo. Fucking Momonosuke, little prick ass bitch.
Wait a minute. Oh, fuck. Are we hanging out with Momo for a while?
Look, all I'm saying is at this point of the story, hated Momo.
Oh, suck a turkey's ass. I didn't know we were hanging out with them. Oh.
So you reading into everybody over and over again asking if you like Momo is that perhaps he might stay around for a while?
Shit on a brick.
So I don't think you like Momo very much.
I like him fine short term. I don't want him to be. Turkeys have asses.
No, they don't. They have a cloaca.
Don't they have a place they shit?
Yeah, it's a cloaca. It's one orifice for everything.
That suck a turkey's cloaca.
What that? Okay, we're moving on.
It's time once again to talk with us all about One Piece. Let's talk. Woo! That's a new theme song for today.
We left off on Devil Fruit being reborn. That was your first episode this time that you read last time live on air.
I'm not gonna lie, reading that piece on air, Pet the Boy, reading that piece on air was, I wasn't like as pumped up about this thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm reading it, and this poor slime, Smiley, goes in and is like, I'm a Smiley. Boom, I'm dead. And devil fruit. And I was like, what the shit just happened? You feel bad for Smiley's wife? Thank you very much, Gertie. I want to make sure that we're really giving theme songs a chance. And it also made me think about devil fruit in a whole new way. And because I am who I am and I do what I want, I'm going to talk about that now.
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So all this time, we've been talking about how people inherit will, and we've been talking about all the different types of will that you can inherit. And earlier, I had said famously that I didn't think, and I was like, it's interesting because I feel like hockey is an inherited will, and we get to see a truly inherited will from other people. And then all of a sudden, I saw an actual devil fruit, not the fake shit that we'll talk about later, but I saw a real devil fruit being created, and I was like, well, take me down and call me a walnut tree, because now I'm like, damn, it feels like if somebody has to die possibly to make, and they lose their devil fruit and it goes to possibly the closest fruit that's available in that type, then it feels like it is possible that you inherit the will of somebody who had the devil fruit before you. So I started to ask the question of, what is left over in somebody? Is it a reset, or is there an inherited will in a devil fruit? And is there inherited will for each time that devil fruit is used? A person lives a life and then they die and it goes back into a fruit. And so is there an accumulation of will within a devil fruit itself? And it started to make me think that, yeah, no, it's not just necessarily haki that is a will that moves on through people. I think that because of the way that a devil fruit is created, it very much could also be devil fruit that have hidden will within them and are passed on to people, which makes them 400% cooler. I think 400 is the right thing to call them.
400%. Damn.
Yeah,
That's impressive
400% cooler.
stats.
Yeah, I don't make the rules, I just follow them. And so when I started to think about all the places and all the people who could have them, it seems like there's a finite amount of devil fruit. No, don't get me wrong. I could see Oda doing a thing where he's like, there's a catalog and there's a finite number of devil fruit. Oh, just kidding. Here's a new one you've never seen before. And then we would all be like, what the shit, Oda? And then I would wonder where it came from and if it's still possible to make new devil fruits. But I really love the idea of these coming from before and carrying on the will of people who were in the past. Because now I imagine that whether you know it or not, it's a connection to ancestors, it's a connection to history, and it's a connection to who people were. And so you do inherit a will in this way as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I would agree, Katu. I want to know the range of fruit needed to be within the devil fruit.
Yeah.
I would agree.
My takeaway is because devil fruit seemingly don't vanish, is it's just the nearest one no matter the distance. Like if there's nothing within a few islands, my guess is like it'll just show up thousands of miles away.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar feeling, and it was interesting that this person, crappy clown Kabuki Cringy, was
Cringy Kabuki clown. Understand?
the crappy cringy Kabuki clown was running around saying shit and being a weirdo and intentionally kind of killed Smiley in front of this fruit, kind of so that we are looking at the juxtaposition of how it's almost like they were highlighting to the world how difficult it is to have a devil fruit, and yet how this sad fruit, which is the right name for it, by the way, sad fruit would be the right. There's devil fruit, then there's pathetic sad fruit. You eat it and you're sad, sad, sad. Because it's a great juxtaposition between those two things, showing that this is something that is precious and a resource that's really difficult to get, and that it has I feel like it has some of the person in it, some of their will, some of who they are passed on it, and the other one is just chemical bullshit.
I mean, the fake devil fruits, the compound that makes them is called sad. The devil fruits themselves are called smiles.
I know that. But it's a sad smile. It's an ironic smile.
All right, fair, valid.
I mean, when the compounds are called sad and the thing is called smile, it's like a cringy, sad smile. And so I love the idea of there being an ironic smile around. That's what these fruits basically are. So now I started saying to myself, "Aw, look at these ironic smile fruits. They suck. I hates them." Also, it disparages the name of dragon to have these shit fruits making dragons out of people. I'm wanting a real dragon, a fully dragony dragon, and I'm getting these like, I'm still sad. I am glad that the dude cut what he thought was his son in half, because it made me be like, yeah, do you have a little bit of regret now? Maybe killing him? He doesn't come back and talk about it. Could have been another child who had been turned. So that was whatever. But I was glad that maybe somewhere in the back of his very black and white mind, he had the ability to think about, yeah, maybe you killed somebody else's child just now, dragon killer.
Who's to say?
And also, I wanted Luffy, but he did not. He famously didn't care. To be like, I wonder if that first dragon I ate was a person.
I mean, Luffy wouldn't think about that. Luffy,
he
he's
famously
animal,
did not.
And unless he's friends with the animal, hunts the animal.
Yeah.
Luffy hunting is so fucked up to think about, because he doesn't use weapons, which means he beats animals to death with his fists.
I know he says there were never children turned into dragons. Momo
is a child turned into a dragon. That's true. But by a specific fake devil fruit made by Vegapunk.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Momo. The other dragons are just dragons created by Vegapunk.
Yeah. Yeah, we know that. It's just look, we know that in retrospect. Mama Drog is pointing out the characters shouldn't have known that. The characters wouldn't know that.
Yeah, the characters wouldn't know that was my point. But now, boom, new thought.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, quit talking about the D. We're on air. So I had some thoughts about Dr. Vegapunk and the dragon.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if do we know okay. Thinking. Got it. All right. Do we know if Kumo was obviously friends with Dr. Vegapunk earlier and had a relationship enough, in my opinion, to be trusting him enough to do the things that he needed to be done? And so I now see Dr. Vegapunk even more as being a member of the rebel party hiding in plain sight for the government. I am reading a book, and one of the baddest baddies in Badville also happens to be working for the other side. And then it made me think, did Dr. Vegapunk, do they know Dragon? And is it possible that they made Dragon a proper dragon? I don't know. Now I wonder.
It's possible, but they also do
if
work
it
for the
is
government.
possible, can I just say one thing? It better be a better dragon than the dragons I've been given.
This is a fine point for my theory. When we got to this point in the story, I had an interesting thought where I was thinking, he's doing experiments for people. Vegapunk works for the world government. Is it possible the reason he made dragons is for the celestial dragons, and they were named after dragons who are now extinct?
Yeah, remember how I said, like, how dragony are the celestial dragons? I kind of was like, is there a thing there? Is there a thing? Because were you dragons? Were you more than these shitty things you are now? Because it's so upsetting to me to have people in power who suck that much. You know, you just hope they sucked less at some point. Thank you, Amoras.
Thank you.
And
we
so
have
I'm
not
like,
talked about Kinemon.
what? No, we haven't talked about that yet. We're not there. We're busy being
dragons.
We're busy being very, very hopeful that dragons are going to suck less in the future.
Look, you can't guess a character based off of their silhouette in One Piece because silhouettes mean nothing.
He did do a whole SBS about silhouettes. Did you read it?
Yes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Is it the one where he's like, yeah, I like using a silhouette because it's a way of like not committing to a character design?
No, it's the one where he said, here is how you look at the differences and can tell these characters apart.
Oh, do you mean silhouette for character design? I meant like when he introduces a character as just a silhouette, he does it so that he can have empty space to change their design later.
I see and I agree.
So like very often characters don't look like the silhouette they're first shown as because he changes their mind about design partway through.
Can I reiterate how much I hate this clown?
Yeah, how much do you hate this clown?
Oh, thank God. Thank God someone finally asked me. Hate this shitty clown.
All right.
Like,
on the tier
I didn't think I was ever going to say this, but team... God, I don't want to say it.
Okay, but I'm going to make you answer a question. Of villains we've met who you hate, we have Wanzi, Wapple, and Pearl as far as like hateable in a deep personal way that's not just because of what they do. Where is Caesar Clown compared to Wanzi, Wapple, and Pearl?
Ugh, Wanzi, Wapple, and Pearl. Worse than Wapple.
Okay. And Charlos, yeah, that's fair.
Wapple. Worse than Wapple. Worse than Wanzi.
Damn. Pearl and Charlos.
Charlos is worse. Worse than Pearl.
The only character worse than him as far as just shitbags is Charlos.
Yes.
Damn. There is a lot of contempt for this clown.
I hate him so much. Ew.
No, fuck that guy.
What are you doing?
What
are you doing to me?
That's his laugh.
I hated that. I hate him so much. But
did you see how I poisoned all those children?
Yeah, did you see how I made children addicted to drugs? Blah blah blah.
Children on drugs.
Did you see how I
got
made children
drugs off
addicted?
the street and into these children.
As a person who somebody tried to make addicted to crack on accident, I'm not here for it. Okay, Virgo.
He at least has drip. Doesn't he wear like a striped jumpsuit and a lab coat?
Are you? Thank you, Timo. Are you claiming that this gas bag kabuki farter has drip?
In an arc with like Aloha shirt Tashigi, Trafalgar Law in his fucking trench coat era, Smoker, and Virgo. To be fair, Virgo's jacket, great. You're gonna claim Caesar Clown as drip?
You know what I've decided? You know, I love the idea too that that our good friend Law is also apparently obsessed with his hat.
Look, he likes his hat.
Anyways, I've decided to call Caesar Fart Clown because I've decided that Fart Clown is the best name for him, and that is now who he is. He is Kabuki Fart Clown.
Someone said, how can you say he is drip? He's literally a gas, not a liquid. Great joke.
You know what? That's beautiful. Fun fact, the compound put in the candy is a chemical anagram for meth. That makes sense because I don't know if I've mentioned this. Someone tried to get me addicted to meth.
You keep changing what the substance was. All you know is they smoked it from a pipe.
Obviously.
Tried to get you addicted to blank, 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 dot, dot, dot.
No, I just call it that sweet, sweet pipe. Yeah. Didn't I tell you this already? I'm sure I did.
I mean, last stream, but not everyone was here last stream.
Okay, long and the short of it, there was a person outside of my classroom door imbibing in something from a glass pipe. And as I slammed the door open, because my arms were full, so I kind of kicked it open, if I'm being honest, they dropped their pipe and exhaled, and I gasped in shock and inhaled all of their drugs. And then when I came home, I said to my husband, I think I might be addicted to that sweet, sweet pipe. You're going to need to keep me away. That sweet, sweet pipe. And I had such a bad headache. I felt so gross.
Hey, you know what?
It wasn't the best.
With a drug is actually a really good way to not be addicted. So good job. You're doing it.
Oh my God. I am a queen of not getting addicted to drugs. And my secret is inhale others.
My secret for not getting addicted to drugs is just kind of don't.
Nobody's ever offered me drugs. I'm starting to think I never had a real friend. Oh, hey, Cricket, you have art for me? Yeah.
Incroyable, as the French would say.
Are you going to put my art up, or do I have to go find it?
What if you put it in media chat, Cricket?
And then drop and show it.
I have an announcement today for patrons. Hey, patrons, this is important. Our first ever gift from a fan has come in. It's incredible. We are looking forward to it. We are going to be waiting to open these for our Patreon streams before we get into what we're going to be doing. So this month, either in one stream or two, we're going to be watching movie 4 and 6 of One Piece. From then on, we're going to watch all the ones that Oda was involved in, but this month is 4 and 6. And before we get started, I'm going to open all of the packages we get in. So that's going to be a special thing.
You guys have to know, I am really weird about packages. I never had a single package as a child. And I told my grandparents, I was like, one day I hope I get a package. And my grandfather, I had made fun of his runners for like 2 years, and he finally changed them. And he sent me his old runners in a package.
5 months, Watsuba?
Thank you, Watsuba. And so it crushed my soul when I got my sad ass package of old runners. And so the very first time I got a package, I got really weird about it. And now even Papa Drock doesn't get to open his own packages. I'm like, I open. I am the package opener now.
Today's Frankie Shanks and Mihawk's birthday. Why do they got the same birthday? That's
wild.
Why
did you do that? That's weird.
That's a very manly birthday.
It is like Christmas, Cog. Every single time a package comes. If you want to know, Sam, if you had seen my grandfather's runners, you would have made fun of them too. It was a sad, sad day in Runnerville when he continued to wear them 10 years after they should have been put to rest. Okay. Let's go. Let's do this. Let's throw down.
Claim Caesar has drip. I can't get over that.
You know what? People are allowed to have opinions.
People are allowed to have wrong opinions. You are correct.
Oh my God. Here we go. I hate like Virgo.
Yeah.
unlike Fart Clown, I think that Virgo is a great villain who I enjoy seeing and who gives me the attitude of like, yeah, Virgo sucks. Yeah, Virgo does suck, but Virgo is he's gonna bad guy well in a way that I'm gonna appreciate. Whereas the chaotic fart clouds of the Caesar or whatever he calls himself.
Caesar Clown, yeah. You say what he
No,
called himself. That's literally his name is just Caesar.
Nah, I don't care. I I think Virgo sucks in a way that I am going to enjoy hating him, but not feel like he's a
I don't
fart
know.
clown.
If someone likes Caesar, I'm actually fine with that. It's thinking he has drip that I have a problem with.
No, you shouldn't like somebody who intentionally drugs children knowing that they're going to kill them.
You know what? That is fair. You saying that I like Teach, I should understand people liking anybody. Teach is a horrible bad guy, but his want is to like have maximum power and throw the world into chaos, which I feel like is a lot more likable than I want to drug children for profit.
Yeah, exactly. Like I hate Virgo in the way that he's a piece of shit bad guy who's going to do things that are really awful and has strong swiggity swag. Whereas Fart Clown runs around drugging children and knowing that they're going to kill the children because of these drugs. I'm sorry, I can't get behind Fart Clown. Monet, we're going to get into that when we get into the ridiculousness of some of the things in this chapter that made me be like, no, I can't even. I do like that they named him Caesar because it did feel like it was kind of an erroneous feeling of greatness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Caesar is like, I am the greatest. I'm going to do all the greatest things.
I mean, it kind of feels like a bit of a reference to me, World War One Germany having a Reich where the king of German kings were called Kaiser, which is
Yeah.
just literally Caesar. Like they
Yeah.
literally just named themselves Caesar. That was the German word for king. I think king actually also comes from Kaiser as well.
Great vibe.
Yeah, but he's a guy doing unethical experiments using gas weapons in a world where nobody does, and basically inventing war crimes. Who calls
Yeah,
himself
exactly.
Caesar? I think it is actually kind of meant to be a World War One Germany reference.
Also experimenting on people because he says
Yep.
everybody is his guinea pig. He just also is experimenting on children and he sees them all as less than him.
Also plays off of Caesar Romero a bit. You're right, because he works for Joker and he's a clown named Caesar. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
All of this is true. All of it just makes him
Title
suck
is
more.
equivalent to Emperor? Fair. Yeah, I think definitely like there is some Caesar Romero, there is some World War One Germany in this fart clown.
Yeah, I think the fart clown does a very
King's
good
Germanic.
job
It's not
of
based
him.
off of Caesar. Interesting. I thought it maybe came from Kaiser, but interesting. King is from
But
Koenig in German. Understandable.
he embodies all of the hateful, awful things of most of the people that I would despise from history.
Yeah.
But the other thing that he embodies, in my opinion, and I'm right, is he also embodies these different ideas of power. So when you think about power, you have different types. You have legitimate power from recognized authority, coercive power relying on threat and force. You have economic power from control over financial, social from influence in social groups, informational power based on control and access to information, charismatic, personal charismatic and persuasion, soft power, cultural, diplomatic ideologies, and network power relying on alliances and relationships. And this entire arc, to me, is an arc about power, and should be a role for power. And we get to see a whole bunch of different people's ideas on what power looks like. And most power is kind of a mixture of all of these different ones, but you have some that stand out in people. And so when you look at the different ways that we're looking as power, and this is a power themed arc, you're seeing that for some of the people who came into this arc feeling like they had nowhere to go, they had no one to help them, they were lost. Then they grab onto Caesar, who somehow manages to be convincing in his power that he is going to protect them and they will be safe with him. Like Brownbeard has an unusual amount of absolute buy-in for Caesar's leadership, which is ridiculous when you take a look at, but that's because Brownbeard is looking for a father figure or a person in control or a parental figure that will help to protect his crew, because he has had the burden of power put on him. And obviously he couldn't handle the burden of power put on him and felt like he wasn't doing a good enough job. And his crew ended up getting into a heap of mess. And so when he sees Caesar and Caesar makes him feel kind of like he is protective and caring and will help him and gave him new legs that belong to an animal, then it made Brownbeard feel like he gets to get behind him and give him all of his allegiance. But in actuality, it is unearned power. And so when we talk about what unearned power looks like, it's unearned loyalty in politics is like where individuals of the group have unwavering support. They get all this allegiance, and yet they haven't merited any of the performance deserving this loyalty. And so when you think about it, I start to think about him as they align with him maybe because he has a cult of personality, but then I was like, this is not a charismatic leader. This is not a leader that you're like, oh, the charisma, right? Whereas when we're watching this, Virgo is a charismatic leader that gets loyalty through charisma. And there's not a historic, it's kind of propaganda, but it's not really, and it's not really fear or intimidation. So it feels like he got this unearned power through lack of an alternative. And that is one method of getting an unearned power. And by having a lack of alternative, people feel compelled to throw their support behind this political person or this because they don't have anything else. So they start to give them more credence for doing great things than they deserve, because otherwise, if you don't believe in the person who's leading you, you're going to be rudderless and you're going to feel absolutely vulnerable. So I think this little bastard manages to take the lack of alternative and with the people in the army and stuff, but with the children, he uses misinformation and propaganda. So he is, yes, this person is exactly right. He's so narcissistic. He's a narcissistic fart, and he uses different types of unearned loyalty to make people follow him to a fervor. What did I call it earlier when you and I were talking?
Zealous loyalty.
Zealous loyalty. And so I think that with the children, he has this ability to make them feel through misinformation and propaganda that they're going to die, that without him they won't be here. But then he has that backed up with all the people who have this strange cult-like ability to believe in him, other grown-ups. And so exactly, Kaitu. So it almost feels cult-like because the other grown-ups are like, this person will save you. If he says this is what's going on, this is what's going on. And so it's an absolutely fascinating thing because this arc shows a whole bunch of unearned loyalty. You have Virgo, who has a zealousness to him, but not nearly as strong. But then even Tashigi. So when you see Tashigi being chucked through the doors at one point, and all of her people are trying to get her to safety, and she's like, no, I need to get in there. I need to save them. And her people are like, no. And they lean forward and they say, you did well, boys. You got our great leader through. And then they all give the thumbs up and all sorts of okay symbols and stuff. And then they all turn into Pompeii victims. And so even they have this huge, huge feeling of loyalty. And then you have the loyalty of the Straw Hats to Luffy. And then you have the loyalty of all these weirdos to Fart Clown. And then you have all the loyalty of these people to Don Flamingo. And then it's showing that this arc is all about loyalty and power and leadership, and how sometimes that loyalty is misplaced. And people have been led to believe in something that isn't true. You can see him start to kind of create a comparison to that, a foil to that, in when he did Marineford, and he showed our Whitebeard who deserved power, who gave of himself, who created a circumstance for people to be rich in. And yet you then see Buggy, who is taking credit for things that he didn't do, that people are coming towards Buggy and believing the things that happen around them are all because of Buggy. And they just were in such a bad situation that Buggy seems like a savior person. And so all the things that they attribute to him, they want to attribute to him because then he seems more powerful and able to help them out. The more you believe Buggy was responsible for those things, the safer you are when you travel with Buggy. And so he kind of showed the juxtaposition between power and loyalty when we were in Marineford. But in this one, he was like, hold my sake. And then he went off and he fricking blew open power structures. And we have the speech that's given by Usopp is kind of a finale of power where he says, I want to talk to you about this. And I want to tell you why Luffy is the greatest leader and why all the people that you are worshiping and you are giving your loyalty to are shitbags who have done nothing but damage you and who don't care about you, who you are, or what happens to you. You personally mean nothing to them, whereas Luffy is nonstop thinking about others and where they fit into the overall plan. And he sees us each as our individuals and gives us agency. Meanwhile, in all the other positions where the power is not credited and that person didn't deserve to have that loyalty, the number one thing there is that people lack agency. They don't have agency over their own life. Meanwhile, with Tashigi and Luffy, who have earned power and earned trust and leadership, you can see that they believe in agency for their people. They're their own people with their own minds, their own ways of doing things. And the proof of that lays nowhere stronger than in Doflamingo deciding that he is going to tell somebody to give up their life for him. I'm sorry to have to do this. Do I feel sad about it? Oh, wah, wah, I feel sad about it. I'm Doflamingo. Go stuff it up your sideways butt, flamingo face. But meanwhile, he asks someone to commit suicide on behalf of him. Die for me, Monet. Die for me. And that is the ultimate thing in saying that these people who have power don't earn it, didn't get it through a real reason, and then don't give agency to the people that they have power over. And you can really start to tell whether or not the person that you believe in and the leadership that you believe in deserves the loyalty based upon how much freedom of thought, movement, and personhood do you have underneath their reign. And I think that's what we saw.
I want to add something in. This is classic mom piece, because what has happened here is live on air. You've said something that's made me think of something that actually makes me like this arc more.
Okay.
It is about power. This arc is about power. And I just realized that it's about power in more ways than direct real world ways, because in a shonen manga, the power systems are part of the what power means. Have you thought of a single arc that highlights, juxtaposes, and examines the combat power systems in One Piece more than this? Think about how much hockey, devil fruits, martial arts, and weapons are being, and science are all being put against each other in this arc. There's no arc that more directly puts those against each other and examines what they mean and how they affect people, what they represent of a person, and how they interact. This arc goes so deep into power systems. It talks about what martial arts mean, what they do, what hockey means, how to use it, how it represents who you are, the impact science and weapons have on combat. There's so many different characters. We literally get introduced to someone whose devil fruit power is weapons, fighting someone who uses weapons made of science. Caesar has his power and his influence over the world, his political power through weapons and science. He uses his devil fruit through the power of science. Hockey is juxtaposed against martial arts, with Sanji against Sanji versus Virgo, and then Virgo versus Law juxtaposes martial arts and hockey to devil fruit and hockey. There's so many different examinations and comparisons of the power systems of One Piece, both politically, figuratively, and in the literal combat sense. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that is amazing. And I don't know about the future. I only knew to where I am. But then there's also other kinds of power in here. And those power are the power of the individual. So we see Nami go into a situation where she sees the kids, she sees the pain that they're in, and she says, no, we're saving them. And they're like, Nami, no, we need to, and she's like, no, we're saving them. And she takes the power and they all go, okay.
Well, fucking hell, guess we is.
She changes the complete direction. We also see the big head little girl who takes all the candies from the children and is running away and is trying to keep them safe and is doing everything she can. And she has almost no power. She's in a position of a lack of power more than almost anyone else. She's been trapped and enslaved, made addicted to a substance, doesn't have the ability, thank you, Mocha, doesn't have the ability, is it Mocha or Mocha? Mocha doesn't have the ability to get out on her own, relies on everyone. And what does she do? She eats all the goddamn candies. She takes power. She says, if I'm unable to stop them from doing this, I'm going to use the only power I have, and I am going to use it to save them. And she wrestles away power. And within this, we see lots of examples of big power and overt power. And I think because of that, we have a tendency not to notice the small acts of power that people wrestle away. The decision of the people who threw Tashigishu through to die on her behalf. Small power. They made it within their choice. And whenever we see that, we see people acting within their own power to have their own agency to make choices. And I think that's a really important part of this, because once you start going through, you realize how many soft moments of personal power we get to see in this arc. On top of all these huge ones where we're seeing everyone fight in different ways, the creation of dragon fruit, the creation of fake dragon fruit, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I guess this time, literally, we do talk about the creation of dragon fruit, so you're right in this one. This is the one time that you're right when you accidentally said dragon fruit instead of devil fruit. We talk about
Maybe
Zoro's feelings towards striking down a woman because Tashigi has a point that he's never had a proper female opponent. When he does fight Monai, he doesn't take her seriously. I agree. He held back. He genuinely didn't take her seriously, despite that being a value that he says he hates, considering people lesser because of their biology, which I think is interesting. I think it is actually a moment of failure for Zoro.
I really did feel like it was a moment of failure. And it was also a moment of failure for him to lean against a goddamn tree and treat it like so condescending, you know?
Yeah.
Like, rather than, because even with his brother, who they like to show each other up, he has the good God graces to step up with him and fight. And when they're in the moment, actually talk, plan, fight, collaborate. But instead, he leans against the wall like a condescending bastard and is like, okay, take care of it. Or, dickhead, how about we do it together? And then this would already be done. Okay, I want to read this because this to me was the part where we were all finding out exactly about the power structure and what he was trying to say. Thank you, Arwalk. Okay, so it goes, where are you going, Straw Hat Luffy? You've lost your will to fight, blah, blah, blah. But once you pass through that hallway structure, B will already be full of the gas. You are doomed. There is nowhere left to run on the island. Bite a turkey butt. We flip over. We see Usopp. I hate to bother you in a time of grief, but can you give me access to those controls? I want to protect my friends from the gas. Hey, I forgot about him. He's with the Straw Hats. So you saw that whole turn of events. Fine. I admit it. We've all been betrayed. But knowing that he's our enemy doesn't change anything. There is no escape. But aren't you in the same situation? Didn't you see your captain running from Caesar? Haha. Serves you right. He's chickening out and leaving you behind. Did you just say what I think you said? You dare to slander my own captain to my face. Sure, if he was the type to betray us, things might have been easier. We might want to tuck our tails between our legs and run, but he never fails to believe in our strength as a group until it breaks our own backs, which means we step up and meet his hope for as long as our lives can hold out. So this is exactly what I was talking about in this arc when he's juxtapositioning all the different types of power. He is saying when we're looking at all these types of power, we might start to get worried that the Straw Hat is too fervently pro-Luffy. Maybe they should believe in him, but not quite as strongly. Maybe they should be careful they don't become cult-like. But Oda decides to spell out what's actually taking place. Luffy will never fail to believe in us. He doesn't micromanage us. He doesn't step in where he doesn't need to. Luffy expects the best of us, so we are the best of us. And that is the difference between the other type of power where you have someone like Dope Flamingo who walks around saying, hey, how's it going? Do you want to commit a little seppuku, a little Harry Carry? Do you want to be a little Flight of the Bumblebee for me and maybe crash into this area and end your life? No. Luffy says, we need to do this and we need to do this. What do you guys think? And then he knows that it will come true together as a group. He learns what it looks like to have faith and trust in each other. So it isn't a one-way street like it is in the broken power systems. The love and the respect and the trust goes in both directions. Whereas when somebody absolutely doesn't deserve your respect, doesn't deserve your fervor in their leadership, is when the power only moves in one direction. We are seeing Oda say throughout history, this is repetitive. You think it's just Trump now in this era, but it is leaders throughout history that have done this. This isn't just one time that we have a person in the modern era that we're getting to see do this.
Yeah,
this
wasn't a
is
thing when
life.
he did this, but this was about authoritarianism. This is about cult of personality.
Exactly.
One Piece is, and I know people hate when leftists say this, but it is about fascism. There is a lot of things about fascism and having an ideology that is about manipulating your base emotions and creating false loyalty to people who are not beneficial to you.
But it's more than that, because other politicians won't say it to you in clear black and white that Oda is saying to you here in black and white. Oda is saying, can't you see? When somebody has authoritarian power over you and you're giving them all your support, all your love, all your money, unending loyalty, but what you're getting back, how can you not see the lie? How can you not feel the lie? Are you feeling like you can direct your own life? Or are you like the people now in Trump's place who are like, no, he did this and this to me, but I completely support him for the candidacy 100%. That's the type of shit that happens throughout history when you found a leader that it's a one-directional relationship, and all the cult that surrounds him are people now who have so much cognitive dissonance. If you stop disagreeing with that person, then you have to admit all the other shit you used to believe in was all false and you were wrong. And that's so hard. And you see that in this arc. In this arc, he keeps showing you people who will go to the ends of the earth, including saying, you must be wearing Virgo's face. Virgo would never do that to us. Virgo would never do that to us. And then what happens? Virgo did do that to you, but you're willing because you have so much cognitive dissonance. You have so much inability to say, holy shit, I was fooled. And I think this is the problem with the way that we do things now is we don't talk about politics and society in a nice, open way where I get to say, because everyone is just like, oh, you're only left. Well, no, I have a lot of opinions that some people would say center to right. But I can't talk about them because the other side will jump on top of it and be like, she believes this and this. And I'm like, no, we should be able to have open conversations so we can see whether or not the populace are being used or if they are directing politics. Democracy should be the people directing politics. And when you have this type of leadership that Oda is showing in here, politics are directing people.
I really like the way Oda writes about politics in general, because it is through the actions of people that you see what makes good and bad leadership instead of going into specific political rants. And I think it is more than anything about power dynamics in the way he writes about politics. And I think Punk Hazard gets into power dynamics very clearly. And I think you're absolutely right that this is about power and showing what makes what does a leader have to do to deserve unwavering loyalty? And it is giving unwavering loyalty back. That's what Luffy does that's different. And I think that's what makes him different than the authoritarian leaders that Oda is making critique of. And people will be quick to point out that there are authoritarian leaders who are more left-leaning. I would disagree that a lot of them are actually left-leaning fully, but economically, many authoritarians are. That's true. And Oda's against them as well. He's against this unwavering faith in someone who doesn't give anything back to you.
He's against all unwavering faith, and I think that that's what people don't understand. The
think
example
you
that I'm
understand it.
using is on the far right side because that's the one that we have right now. You
Yeah.
give me somebody on the left and you have people giving unending loyalty with a one-directional relationship, I'll call that shit out. Because your politicians shouldn't be frickin' rock stars that you're excusing all their actions for. Your politicians should be working on behalf of the populace, which is shown here. He also shows it, and this is something that's amazing to me, by making this world black and white or frozen and fire. He makes two distinct
Oh my God.
sides. And
You're
he
doing the
says to
thing
all
again.
of you,
You're doing
what?
the thing again where we're going so far into the cool philosophy and thematics behind an arc that I'm starting to like an arc more that I came in not really that
I
hot about.
know, me too.
We're kind of long landing it right now.
I know. Because when I looked at this, I said, okay, dude has got a relationship with the land where he's made one half of it be fire, one half of it be ice. And so now, not only do you show two sides of politics, or in his case, it would be all the people who are pirates, all the people who are government, or it would also be all those people who work underground, all those people who work above ground. He has all the us's and them tropes put inside of this through one frozen side, one on fire side. Same with leadership. He has the leaders hot and cold on the leadership, the leader that runs hot and burns everything up, the leader that runs cold. So he does it in two things, but he'll go back even further and you think about how it became hot and cold and how it's a fight between two people who
Two
see
opposing ideals
politics.
of leadership. Holy shit.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole reason that this island
Oh.
ended up hot and cold, fire and frozen is because two different opinions of leadership. So he started by creating a land that is two different sides of leadership, burning and frozen, and then he layered fucking leadership over the whole thing. Sorry for swearing. I'm a sweary
Hey,
swear.
I also want to say, if you want to talk about two-party politics, you want to talk about the difference between modern conservatism and modern liberalism, having one of them be embodied by passive, lazy justice and the other be embodied by cruel, unforgiving, absolute justice. Great scathing critiques of the modern state of politics in the world's
100%.
most powerful military, which is what the world government is. I just want to say, you want to make fun of both sides? That's absolutely how you do it, because you have
100%.
lazy and ineffective and absolute and harsh, which I think is actually a really good critique of divide of power in the modern worlds.
And so he's already seeing something, because as a person who's been alive since the dawn of time, I can tell you that in the year he's making this, I looked it up and I thought it was 2013, 2014, I wanted to say. Might have been 2012, but I think it's 2013, 14. In the time that he's making this, we're already starting to see the polarization of politics over the world. We're already starting to see that some people feel like they are being completely left out, like people in this are. So I think about the people who believe in Trump, that again is our polarized person right now, and someone that I know well.
This story is not about him in particular because he wasn't in politics.
No, I'm just thinking about this way. And then I think about people like Brownbeard, people who feel displaced, untrusted, without hope, feel that they've been left out of the bigger equation. Nobody is there to believe in them. And I start to think about all the people in poverty in the United States who started to feel like they didn't have jobs, they didn't have anything. Well, what do? Well, the same thing Hitler did. You pick a person to blame and then you rally up all the troops and everyone agrees to go against them and you claim power. That's exactly what happens inside of here. You pick a person like Brownbeard, you pick other displaced people, you create fake sicknesses in people, and whoop, you gather them all up and you create loyalty from nothing. And that is why when you see this thing, I started to say, this man layered leadership on leadership on leadership to show the distinction between power struggles in all of humanity. And God damn it, I think I like the arc now.
I still think it's not a high tier arc for me, but goddamn, is it starting to feel a little better.
Story-wise, I feel like it could have done more. But when you're talking about moving forward from here and we're looking at the new land, because remember, we're going into the new world. What do you need to do before you go into the new world? You need to do something like this. You need to say, look, you're not looking at leadership in a great way. And I want you to look at the straw hats so that when they do shit, When they have loyalty, when they work together, you know you can have faith in them because you've compared leadership and you've compared loyalty, and you know this one is worthy. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Just because we haven't gone anywhere yet, we're just
We
been
haven't, but we
running
talked a
around.
lot about themes. Hey, do we want to get into the fact that I've had revelations since the last time we talked about the meaning of haki, so that we don't make any progress?
Italy D potato. I love that revelation. Let's get in there.
Really? We want to? We want to stop moving again? Because I'll do it.
D potato. Let's go.
Okay. Haki is who you are as a person. That's something I've said before. Some ways to think about it. Conqueror's haki is not you're a special chosen boy. It isn't. It is something you were born with in the way that you are born who you are, sure. But you have Conqueror's haki if you have the will to conquer. And I've been thinking about the extension of haki being who you are, and I've come to a realization, which is observation haki is how you see the world. Let's get into what that means. What does Zoro see? The breath of the things around him, the vibration of his blade, the vibration of his enemy's body, of his surroundings. What does Luffy see? The emotions, the personality, and the wants, the dreams of the things around him. What people and creatures want is what Luffy sees. Every character, the way they describe observation haki is how they see other people. Sanji is incredibly sensitive to the presence of women. He is more aware of women than he is anything else. He also has perception for people who are trying to avoid notice because he's looking out for little things and caring about the small people. Women, weaker people, food, those are the things he notices. Eneru notices people like ants. He notices the minute workings of everyone. Now, he uses his haki, or he uses devil fruit to enhance his haki by being everywhere with his static, sure, but he sees people as little creatures, things to observe and see what they're physically doing. Kobe and Asa feel the emotions, the pain of the people around them because they're empathetic. Otohime feels the emotions and the sadness of the people around her for the same reason. Everybody's haki and how it first manifests says something about how they see the world. Observation haki is how you observe inherently. It's so cool.
I agree completely. And so we started to think about all the ways that this could add to the piece and our understanding of haki. And then because I was a cheeky bugger, I was like, which would mean, say, if you had just met, I don't know, Zoro, and he was tied to a thing and you decided you wanted him on your crew, your observation and your haki would make it so that your haki spoke to his haki.
Now, I will say we both agree with that person that Luffy is not like Blackbeard picking people because he's like, you're powerful, but haki is who you are. He senses what it is that they have because Luffy senses dreams. He senses ambition. He senses what people want and need. That's his observation, which is why when he's first tapping into it manually, Rayleigh says, what do you feel? And he says, I feel what they want and what they're feeling, because that's how he sees the world. He sees who people are.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, Luffy is choosing people quickly because the person was like, are you just saying that Luffy would not be able to choose somebody based upon their personality? For 4 seconds, he met a dude tied to a thing. He had one action that doesn't determine everything. And so the haki, speaking to haki, would talk about why is it that Luffy is able to know when somebody is right. Don't get me wrong. Luffy also just invites any weirdo he sees. That's a Luffy weird moment. But you can tell the difference between Luffy is like, I must have you. You speak to me. We speak together. It's kind of I like to think of it as their haki is grokking. It groks out with each other. Okay, so we're moving from this part because we talked about a lot of the other part leading up to it without talking about it. So we're starting in book 69 and we're starting right after Big Head Kid has eaten all the candies. I never thought we would die. I still thought we could be grown-ups. That might be one of the saddest statements that this dude has written. I never thought we would die. I still thought we could be grown-ups. Oh, God.
Yeah,
having
that's
a little
thing
kid
for a child to say.
Having a little kid say that is too much for my soul. I thought that Oda did a really good job of putting the children in the center of the story without putting the children in the center of the story, if you know what I mean. Like, he has them there, and every once in a while when you're like, well, he's not that bad, then you're like, right, the kids,
the
right.
child
No,
drugging.
no, he really is that bad. He sucks with all the power of sucking. And then he did the same thing with Virgo. Well, he's got some good characters. Nope, he doesn't. It's because of all this that these kids weren't returned to their parents. And he used the kids again. Well, Law seems to be just a good guy, and his relationship with Luffy, nope, Law knew about the children. And so he keeps using the children in the background to change your opinion of everyone, including the Straw Hats. Because when Nami comes in and is like, no, we're not leaving, we're saving these kids. You're like, and now your opinion of the Straw Hats changes based upon the children. Law did not know about the children. I was trying to determine if that was true. I thought he did. I thought he had an idea, but he didn't know that they were being drugged.
I just thought he had a personal objective that he thought was bigger.
Yeah, he did know. And then the same thing with our great girl who is asked to kill herself. She knows about the kids, but she has too much faith in her leadership. And so I'm like, she's great. And she was misled. But also, she knew about the children. And so by him putting the kids in this arc and having the children be guinea pigs who were forced to become drug addicts, who were going to be experiments that would grow over their size and then die, just even the taking of the children alone, what it means is that we are forced to look at everyone from a different lens. And anytime we start to make excuses for them, we have to come back to the kids. Even Monet, I'm like, I get it. And Monet is this and this, and she didn't mean this and this and this. And I'm like, nope. Look, Monet knew about the kids.
Monet fine as hell. We love our weird autistic bird girl, but also she did know that there is child experiments happening. Yeah,
exactly. And so, and Tashiki's relationship about the children, Tashiki ends up helping to save the kids. Caesar's literally giving kids meth. Yeah, exactly. Look at all that. Irregular heartbeat, dizziness, euphoria, vivid hallucinations. Okay, let's talk about, speaking of drugs and fake shit.
Okay.
Let's talk about the man-made devil fruit of the Zoan persuasion. Yeah. Do we know if there's any other kind of devil fruit, or are they all Zoan?
As far as you're aware, the only artificial devil fruits are Zoans.
We're not at Hot Men yet.
Cricket really wants you to talk about skeleton and washed up dad. How do you describe a guy who's cut in half? There's not really like a clean way to say it.
Is she talking about Momo's dad?
It's Cricket.
You think Kinemon is hot?
He thinks Kinemon is hot, and you have reached the point where he is allowed to talk about Kinemon because you've met him.
I mean, I guess cut in half dude is got his own kind of hotness, but you know what really turned me off? Because I like dude whole way through. He's fighting, he's running around, he needs to find his son. And I mean, the fact that everyone else, I don't know why suspenders are so hot. They just are. Again, I don't make the rules. I just play within them. So he's gonna come out in the world and find his son. None of the other parents have gone searching for their
this guy's
children.
One Piece's first good dad.
And he's like, hey, I'm gonna actually try and find my child. So don't get me wrong, dude is awesome. But
I do really like Kinemon.
Then when Robin has a bath with his son, and then Nami's like, oh, you poor baby, they tried to attack you, including his dad. His dad tried to, thank you, Red Potato. Including the dad tried to attack the kid for having a bath with Robin. What? Pervs? What? He's a baby. Then when he got to sleep, even the dad was like, I hate that kid. He's the worst. And I was like, what? So that was a perviness minus. Yes, perviness minus from me too. You know who else pops off in this arc is Smoker. I've always had a little affinity for Smoker since the very first time. since our very first time seeing him when he gets talked to about how we got to save the Luffy and how he will not be taken down the Luffy.
For me, the big thing with Smoker that makes me love him is the moment where he's like, no, you aren't giving me credit for what Straw Hat did. People deserve the truth.
Yeah, I agree. From the moment that he did that thing, I was like, you know what, Smoker? I like you. I'm sorry my pants ate your ice cream.
So it is a great introduction also.
Mary
Sorry,
File?
my pants ate your ice cream, little girl.
No, Mary File. Doing that is like saying, oh, I hope you like him now. Okay, here we go. This
Going for a
fake
weird
shit.
vibe on this today. All right, someone made me change it, and now we're just going wild. White Chase is a badass epithet, but I don't get people putting it up as one of the best in the series. Like, White Chase is fine, it's cool, but like, this is a series where a guy is called the Surgeon of Death. Come on.
But they called him Chaser. Boo. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I keep trying to talk about the goddamn fake fruit, and I still have it.
Fake fruit time. We're in fake fruit time.
Okay, so the fact that they're able to make fake fruit, and they said that that is Dr. Vegapunk's world.
Well, Dr. Vegapunk made the one that's fully functional. We don't know what the issue is with the other one,
And
but
we
know
don't
his
know what
was
the
better.
issue is, and it kills people.
Yeah. Well, we know something's wrong with it, is all we know. That the fake fruit Caesar's making aren't as good. We don't know what that means, but we know Vegapunk made a functional one that he still said was broken.
Farts can't make fruit.
Interesting.
Yeah. What did they think about that?
Okay, I don't think I would have thought about that. That's probably why it didn't work.
I hate fake fruit existing. I hate it so much.
Yeah.
At first I was like, how am I feeling about this fake fruit? And like, what is the purpose of the fake fruit? And and why is Dr. Vegapunk trying to create it? Well, maybe if you were trying to give fake fruit because it's difficult to find a devil fruit and you're trying to give it to a crew of rebels or whatever, say, since I've decided Dr. Vegapunk is good. If Dr. Vegapunk isn't good, that's going to be a real punch to the old kidneys.
Is he going to be good? Is he going to be evil? Will he be greedy? Will he be inventive? We'll have to wait and see.
Inventive. Yes, no, we don't have to wait to see that. Remember, that one is already proven. Anyway, so I was like, are you trying to do a thing where you're trying to help out people like rebels and you're like, we don't have the resources, unlike shit dragons, to run around the world finding every bloody devil fruit in order to hand them off. So in that case, because of that, do you make fake fruit as a way of making sure that people who are fighting against shit dragons have the ability to have strength they otherwise would not have had? And then are they being turned against them by this sad, smiley bullshit of the ironic fake fruit? I hate the ironic fake fruit with a passion that burns in the night.
You don't know what they do yet. They could be super cool.
It turns everyone into a Rowan, it said. Rowan type.
Zoan. They're all Zoan type.
Sorry, Zoan type thingers.
Yeah, they're all Zoan type devil fruits.
No, I hate them. I hate them.
Just on the principle that fruit shouldn't be fake?
No, here's why. It's bullshit.
Okay.
Hear me out on this. I have an opinion. I'm right.
The swagger, the confidence.
When you have something as rare and precious as a devil fruit, and people are have to go through so much to get them, there's pros and cons. You've got the con that it isn't available to all, and therefore it can become elitist. But then, because it is found in what we think is random places, and there's an idea that I haven't had enough time to play with, that it could be possible that if a person dies, it goes into the closest fruit. People who are not the dragons do have a possibility of also securing one. But the fake fruit does a bunch of things. If you can make them for cheap enough, it starts to be that you just huck fake fruit out all over the place. And it's kind of that, oh God, you're not going to go here.
What? What's up? What are we doing?
I don't want to go here, but I don't have a choice.
Are we
And
being political?
okay, everyone, hang on to your underwear. Thank you. It is. It's guns. So
Okay, yeah, it's guns.
devil fruit is a type of thing that is acting as a weapon. It changes the body into the ability to have something that is weaponized. And so when it's rare and when there's only a few, then it isn't everyone running around carrying a gun at their holster and being like, I hate you, boom, boom. There are a few people. Creating fake fruit and making them available to all for a certain price makes sure that every single person is, if they save their money or do whatever or get with the right people, are going to be able to have one of these fake fruits and then get them. So far, I only know about Zoan types, but maybe other types as well, because the devil fruits are used, like it or not, as a type of weapon. Once some people now have the fake fruit, other people are going to be like, I also need to have this goddamn fake fruit because now everyone is a goddamn zebra, giraffe, lion, and I'm out here with my family just trying to protect myself with no stupid smile fruit. And so now all of my people are going to get hurt. And the only way for me to fight against this is to also become a Zoan user and get myself a fake fruit. And before you know it, you have to freaking world full of these stupid fruits in order for everyone to feel safe. But once you do that, that fruit loses value. That becomes base. So now people are going to invent some bigger kind of fruit. I don't know, the AK-47 of fake fruit. And once you AK-47,
a pretty big
and
deal,
once
and
you
Vegapunk can do that.
I don't disagree, but we're talking about beefing them up. And once you AK-47 a fake fruit, who's to say they're not going to see what has been done to Blackbeard and say, if it's possible to have more than one fruit, is it possible to make more than one type of thing with inside of fruits if we purchase them? And if enough work is done, can I be two things? Can I be the safest safe, the toughest tough? And so we are seeing the need to arm yourself and to get invested in these fake fruits as kind of being a link between arming yourself with weaponry. And the only comparison I can make is guns. Guns in this thing, in fact, have a lesser threat level than do the devil fruit. Lots of people who have the ability to have weapons lose against somebody with a devil fruit who has ownership over their power. And so what I'm seeing here is that first we had slavery with Dofi, and then we have weaponry. And so when this is going around, this is actually creating the feeling that in the new world, in order to be safe, everyone's going to have to fruit their ass up.
I mean, I don't think you're wrong for going into those themes because the power of weapons is a major theme in this arc. Caesar Clown is literally a weapons dealer putting on a display, willing to kill his own men to show off his sales goods.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I hate talking to Americans about guns because I'm Canadian, and in Canada we have guns. People are like, "You guys don't understand. You don't have guns," and I'm like, "Are you shitting me? Go to northern BC and tell me that."
Guns per capita in the world, or something like that. Like we're
Yeah,
up there. We're
have
far away from the numbers in the U.S., but we are up there.
We have so many damn guns, but you can't get a gun if you don't have the mental capacity to have it. You have to take a ticket to be allowed to use your gun, and you actually just have checks and balances against that gun. So we're not just handing guns out with a bank account. And so because of that, which is an actual thing that happened, which I love.
Interesting.
And so because of that, we do have weaponry. It's just talking about how you use it and for what purpose it's used and how you're able to obtain it. And that's what it is. And that's why I feel like this fake fruit shit does the exact opposite thing. If it was kind of Canadian, it would be saying like, yeah, it's a more difficult process. Getting this fruit is actually a thing that is challenging. The using of it is seen as something that's got a little more sacred to it. I don't want to use the sacred because it's the shit wrong word, but there's something more special about it. So if you get a devil fruit, you actually have to train the devil fruit. You need to know what it does. Da 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 da. You're not just running around out there eating everything like a lion. Whereas once you get a fake fruit, you're basically saying, I want to create a militia army as fast as possible and or arm up my military as fast as possible, because once all the people who are underground are armed up with fake fruits, well, now you're definitely going to need your entire military to be armed up as well. And so I think that's why I hate the fruit.
At this point, the buyer of the fake fruit is known, right? Like it's been made
Yeah.
clear to you
Yeah.
who's buying them.
Yeah. So
Kaido is
far.
one of the emperors, and you got to figure someone buying that many fruits in bulk is building an army.
Yeah, and don't they also say we need to tell Big Mama about this at the end, implying that Big Mama is somebody who also may be interested in purchasing fake fruit?
Either that or something else involving Caesar's lab. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just seems like bring back swords. Shit, yeah.
Okay. Sociologically, I will say there's a lot of studies that suggest
Pet the
society in
boy.
general having guns. Good boy. Society
Kiss
in
his
general
face.
having
Kiss his
guns.
face.
There's a lot of studies in general that suggest society having a number of guns is actually a good thing, because without them, it's very easy for big, strong people to bully everyone, and it creates a certain amount of peace and gets rid of the how easy mob intimidation is to have a certain amount of guns. And then there's just an amount of guns that crosses a line into, okay, this no longer has a sociological benefit and is just doing bad things.
Yeah, I would agree. The only thing is, like Sam Fisher here says, but fake fruits could have side effects. And they do. I know they do. We've already kind of touched on it. We've
They've
talked
touched on it
about
with
how
the
they're
fact that
not.
they've talked about that Caesar's is better and it's still considered a failure, which tells you there has to be
Exactly.
something very wrong with what sorry, that Vegapunk's is better and it's still a failure. So Caesars have to have something very wrong. We know that.
Katu, this is why I have it. Like when you look at I was talking to a friend of mine who also happens to be American, and we were talking about school shootings, and she said to me, like, yeah, it's really difficult. Everywhere in the world we have to worry about protecting our kids at school. So blah blah blah. And I was like, we don't have school shootings in Canada, dude.
You don't have to everywhere in the world. The
And
fact
she
that
was
America has
like,
cops in schools is insane. What?
yeah.
How have you not? How?
And
How is that
she
been
was
allowed to
like,
happen and we think it's okay?
what do you
I'll see if
mean?
I can
And I
find the
was like,
studies for the
people.
Discord sometime, by the way.
I was like, well, no, we don't have school shootings. People have guns. They don't shoot people in schools because they have criminal record checks and sanity checks here, and you have to take a bunch of stuff. It's harder to get them. It's not impossible. It's harder.
Yeah.
But we don't have school shootings. And I'm like,
yeah.
and nor does any of these other places. I don't know why you think everyone has school shootings. They do not.
I'll also say the biggest issue in the US with guns, I think bigger than having guns, is actually the culture around guns, how they're seen as like, there is a culture about seeing yourself as the tough outsider, how there's a culture of guns being a sign of manhood. There's so many cultural problems around America's association with guns. And I genuinely think, like, damn, email donated a lot to vote in the scrap guns poll. I think like a big issue that America has is banning more dangerous weapons doesn't actually make shootings less likely. It makes them less dangerous. It makes fewer people die when they happen.
Yeah.
And America's having so many shootings that even if they didn't have assault rifles, there would still be way more people dying of gun deaths in other country, which tells you the culture around guns is a real problem in the United States.
I would agree.
Not just the guns that are available, because people could still shoot like 5 or 6 people with a handgun pretty easily.
And if I may, I'm going to attach this to Flanderism, because somebody brought up the idea of Flanderism. So let me just get there.
Perfect.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, in case you don't know this, Flanderism is kind of what happened to Flanders on The Simpsons, where they take an aspect of a character and then they just kind of crank it up to number 10 and continue to just build on that one aspect of them in Flanderization until suddenly in Flanderization you have a character who they're leaning really hard into like one single aspect of them. So you can really see that happening here with like Sanji a lot, with how he's like, I don't touch a woman. And you could start to see it in a lot of them in a lot of ways that Oda starts leaning into Flanderization a lot more. Dope. And then when you look at guns, it's the same thing for Americans. It becomes like, yeah, it does.
Okay.
It's a
fetishization.
I didn't need this tongue anyways. But
yeah, no, that one's broken.
But when you go to Germany, they have their own thing. In Germany, our niece and nephew are German. My husband's sister married a German boy she met on the West Coast Trail many, many, many years ago. And she would say to you, because she's like, I hate driving here in Canada. Everything is so slow. And I'm like, we're doing 110. It's not that slow. 110 kilometers, just so you guys know.
Not
in the
miles.
United States.
Miles would be absolute nonsense.
And she's like, yeah, it's like old lady slow. and I've been to Germany quite a few times, and I've been in the Autobahn, and the Autobahn is just their name for all highways. All highways. Don't be like me when I was 19 thinking that the Autobahn is one special place. And she said, it's ridiculous. So then the next time we were in Germany and I was talking to my brother-in-law, he said, many of us are trying to get a speed limit put in for the highways. And I said, what speed limit are you trying to get? And he said, we are trying to get it set to 175 kilometers an hour.
I love speeding. I really love driving fast. I hear that speed and that sounds so frightening to me. Like, I love going 140 in the 120 zone around Nanaimo and being like, oh, that feels good. And 175 is terrifying to hear.
And so a bunch of Germans are trying to get a speed limit put in at 110 kilometers an hour. And no, it is like the United States and guns. There are signs all over the road that says, don't let the government manipulate them. Speed is German. There are all sorts of advertisements that say things like, being German is fast, and all these other things going on. And when I talked to my niece, she said, I know intrinsically that going because she generally drives, and I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud for my face, at about 200 kilometers an hour. That's how fast my niece drives in Germany usually, and she's not a fast one. And
Jesus fucking Christ, Germany,
and so
no.
in miles, that's 125 miles an hour is how fast my niece drives. And she says, well, that's not very fast. There's lots of people going faster than me, but I understand that if I got in an accident, I'd probably die. And they still will not hear anything about changing speed. And my brother-in-law told me, for Germans, speed limit is the same as guns in America. We have the same issue as each other. We have wrapped our nationality
as so them.
Yeah, he said we have wrapped our nationality and who we are as people partly in our Autobahn and our speed. Anyways, we already talked about Zoro picking up Tashigi and carrying him through, and she's like, this is mortifying, let me down. And I was pretty pissed off that when they got to where her troops were, that he didn't just put her down. I was like, that's disrespectful. She told you how she feels about that. She told you that she didn't want to be dragged through like a child, and you don't respect her to do that in front of the people who she needs to lead. So you're trying to steal some of her legitimacy and authority. And I was just like,
yeah,
nah, dude.
People say
no.
This is an arc where Sanji takes an L and Zoro's just all W's, but like Zoro comes across as both disrespectful and reckless in how he treats Monet and Tashigi.
I completely agree. I can't believe people would just count him out. You know who comes off like a bloody superstar is Usopp.
Usopp has a great showing. Sanji, I think, does take L's here. He gets his fucking leg broken in a kick fight when he's the kick guy.
Yeah, that's not a good time for him. But I really think for me that this, it's really hard for me to say this, but have you noticed that every time we talk, I like Usopp more and more?
Yeah.
Damn you, Usopp. And even though he's the one that had the fight for Luffy with Luffy, I think I like him even more because of that. So when Usopp gives his speech that I read to everyone, it was the time that we finally got to say Usopp say to everybody out loud, Luffy is my leader. I'm not the captain. Luffy is 100% in control, and whatever the man asks for, I will do. And that's pretty cool. I got a bit teary. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little bit teary. Gab, I would see Nami as kind of being a secondary leader in this piece because everyone did feel like they were going to do one thing, and Nami was like, "Oh hell's no, my friends, get your ass behind taking care of the children." It is different too because we had, was it Sanji? Wait, which one had to go and follow around the cut in half dude? Sanji. Sanji did follow around Cut in Half dude all the time, but it was different. That's one dude looking to do a thing, whereas Nami was like, no, I'm changing the entire game here. We're not going to be the kind of people who claim to stand up on behalf of others and who said they came here for the specific person of helping somebody who had a distress call and then leave children behind. That is not who we are. And so she absolutely did Bon Mare this moment and say, we need to be the responsible parents that they don't have here protecting them. And that was some awesome leadership, but it also helps to define the Straw Hats as being allowed to claim themselves as good guys. If they didn't save children, that would be done. From now on, as I read the series, I would always know that they chose to leave children.
And that's puts a difference between them and Law. Law's not a bad guy here. He was planning on betraying Caesar, but he had a bigger plan, so he did it carefully. He wasn't willing to risk his plan to fight to save these children.
Why am I gonna change my mind about saving PH one day?
Saving Punk Hazard?
About what he did in Punk Hazard.
What, who did?
Sanji.
I don't know.
Well, now I'm gonna perseverate. So that means then, if I'm gonna change my mind, then Cut in Half dude is gonna end up being a huge piece of this, which is kind of sad. I don't know how I feel about that. And then he's gonna either
hot on Kinemon.
He's fine. He's fine. I think he's fine.
Damn. You are right. I love the moment where Nami says she has a soft spot for marine women. It makes sense.
Yeah, I do love that too. Don't look away, sadly, Cricket. Maybe one day I'll like him. Oh, you know who I do like?
Who's that?
Baby 5.
Baby 5 is immediately hilarious.
She's immediate comedy gold. I love her immediately. Cool. She's just cool.
Fun design, funny personality, great jokes, insanely cool devil fruit. Can I tell you that I have only ever seen one devil fruit in the series where I would read the version of One Piece where Luffy has this devil fruit, and it's Baby 5's.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Pistol punch. And imagine the cool things he could do. Second gear with that fruit would be turning his body into a bunch of different machine pieces to make himself faster.
Okay, and let's just put this out there. Do you remember when we said smoking is cool? Bad for you?
Yeah.
Baby 5 smoking a stove? Shut up.
Baby 5 has
chick
energy.
Looks amazing. She's giving Metal Woman. She's giving hold my stogie while I kick her ass. She's giving.
Baby 5 has immediate appeal, dude. It's crazy.
I love Baby 5. I don't like Buffalo very much.
Have you considered that he's got a propeller for a head and he fly, and
he also has propeller feet, so they call it the spin fruit, and his body revolves, and that's
yeah. I'm gonna tell you a fun fact that you might not know about Buffalo. His voice in the anime is repugnant.
Okay. Show me his voice. Do it.
Buffalo? I can't do Buffalo's voice because I'll end up doing the worst voice.
Do it.
Do you want the worst voice or
yeah?
Okay. Here's when you meet Treble. This is what he sounds like.
Oh my god! What? Oh my god! What was that? Is that really it?
That's it. That's it. And I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't that bad of an impression. It was pretty much the voice.
Oh my god! Listen, people are going. That's a good impression. Do you feel there's a connection between Monosuke and Momotaro? Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Well, that's the one of the 3 classics I told you to look up that you haven't looked up yet.
I'm gonna look it up. I've looked at the other one. Hey, can I talk to you about this kid?
What kid? Momonosuke?
Yeah. He sucks.
Yeah, I agree. At this point in the series, he absolutely sucks. I didn't like him. I thought he was annoying. I was like, why do we have to travel with this fucking punk?
Okay, that's all I have to say right now.
This punk's a hazard. Whoa.
Listen. That's funny. Listen. I'm done talking about this now. See you later. Bye.
Okay.
Okay. I will admit that Dofi has got some swiggity swag. And I will admit that Dofi has something about him that feels powerful, but I hate him. I hate him so much. I loved getting to see Frankie's like ultimate form fighting against Shitty Spin Doctor and Awesome Baby 5.
Spin Doctor.
I thought that's what I'm going to call him from now on. It's the Shitty Spin Doctor. I thought getting to watch him fight against them in his ultimate General Frankie form was just a blessing to the population. He is so freaking cool as the general. Like, Frankie. They shoot a bomb at him and he just kind of walks out like, wow, that was a neat weapon. Like, it's just so good, General
This is
Frankie.
also the point. Guys, is this the point where he reveals what metal the general's made out of? Tell me. If it is, we need to talk about it.
Did he? I think he did say what his metal was made.
Yes, the metal
out
is Wapo metal, the metal Wapple invented by eating trash
by
and
eating the
rich
trash. Oh shit, my
the General
donkey.
Frankie is made of Wapo metal. That's why it's so tough.
Shut up. Oh, seriously, beat your
so
face
cool?
with a brick? That's terrible news. But on the other hand,
about it, yeah, it interconnects the world. Frankie gets to have that upgrade because Luffy punched
so
him to another island.
Okay, listen, you know I'm not a Wapple, like we've talked about it.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool to attach those things together. Okay, but even though I love the Frankie, I love him being in his general form. I thought that was incredible. Right afterwards, they do another thing that you're like, oh my God, that's equally cool. When we find out that Law did a little switcheroony and gave the wrong heart to Fart Clown, and then you think that you're killing our boy Smoker, and you ain't.
And what I love about that, it is the only reason we survive the disaster of Zoro underestimating someone and not killing them when he could have.
Exactly. Thank you, Zoro. That was a really good idea. You were smart. Smart.
Zoro not killing Monet almost killed everyone.
But we did get to see, because of that, the old switcheroo.
Can we talk about what's crazy though?
What?
Virgo was cut in half when the island exploded full of poison, right? Monet died. 2 people just died outside of a flashback.
Wait. Did Monet die?
Monet got stabbed in the fucking heart.
Like, I know that, but usually that doesn't mean anything. 2 people died?
2 people just actually died in One Piece.
Shut the shit up.
People are dying now. We're in the post-time skip.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I know they're bad guys, but they both died.
Yeah, because people don't die. Like, we had to set shit up for a decade. Although I found out, because I didn't know that every time Robin does that thing, until I watched the episodes, I didn't know that Robin was cracking necks.
I mean, granted, they're not dying. They're just becoming quadriplegics.
And some of them might die.
Some of them might die.
I didn't know that Robin be out in the world breaking people's spines. I had no idea.
But yeah, 2 people just died in One Piece.
I can't even believe 2 people die in this arc. That's wild. It's also wild because he's not just making a critical analysis of other people's countries. Like, when we talk about the fact that he is mentioning all these things about World War I or World War II or whatever else, he's also talking about Japan in here, because he basically says to her, and she dies, but I didn't think she died in that way. I'm going to need you to kamikaze now. Because that's what takes place. He says, press the button and die. You are going to kamikaze your way into death now for me.
First of all, you're right. He's critiquing the history of his own country, but also someone pointed out Smiley also was a named character.
Oh, Smiley was definitely a main character.
And yeah, that's another named character. 3 named characters died.
Yeah. Holy shit. We had 3 characters die. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say about this. Who's the old man? Is the young master here? He should be in his room on the 4th floor. He's not. His window was open. Oh, I see. I don't know then. He went off without talking to anyone. This is the first time that I found out that this idiot could fly.
Yep.
So is he just a flamingo? He flies?
I mean, he's flying in a weird way.
Yeah, I was trying to look at it how he's flying because I couldn't bigify it because I don't know if you've
It will
heard
be
this.
explained what he's doing and how at some point.
Yeah, because I can't bigify these pages
Yeah.
because I'm reading a book.
Yeah.
They fly now. He a birdie. Is it his legs? It looks like he's pushing his legs to the front and then pulling them back.
The way the anime does it is he's just kind of like throwing his arms down to move. And the flap, I think, is supposed to be the coat flapping in the wind.
So is he using like a push?
Hard to say.
Because that reminds me of what's it called that I love.
Mistborn,
Yes.
where they have railway tracks of spikes in the ground that they just soar off of, and then a relay of spikes at the end to push against to slow down their descent.
Who can say? But I think he like he can push off the water or use the heat or the what's it called? I don't know. I gotta think about that. The reason I don't is I hate him.
His moniker is the Heavenly Demon, which is, I'm going to say, for all you White Chase fans, Heavenly Demon kicks what the shit out of White Chase when it comes to coolness of name.
If we're gonna be honest, I hate him so much that I haven't spent as much time looking at him, and so my bias is taking away my ability
You
to
can't
make.
read him as well because you don't want to look at him.
Well, I'm just not doing cool predictions about him because I'm just like, I hate you and I don't want to look at you. But I think I'm gonna have to look at that piece of crap a little deeper and allow
Probably.
myself to. Oh, I'm so glad that he got absolutely demoed. That Law cut in half. This is the other thing I was gonna get you to do. You know, here where it's like Buffalo, and is that baby 5? Law, are you really turning against Joker? You traitor, don't you know Joker's still holding? Who's that? They are friends. And then on the next page, it shows Luffy in the middle, all of the straw hats around him, including Weirdo in the background. Damn it. And it goes, no, they're enemies. I was going to get you to draw that page too. It's amazing.
It says something still about like Big Mom being savvy that her and her crew are immediately like, yeah, you're that fucking upstart. And Dofi's crew is like, who are you, you piece of shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Because like, Big Mom has a more important position in the world than Dofi, in theory, being an emperor. So I think it says something about the like acumen of their crew that they are aware of Luffy, while Buffalo's just like, who's you?
I don't know the page, but he said CC with the kids running back to CC. I read it as Law not knowing that the kids were there and definitely didn't know. He knew the kids were there, but I saw that he didn't know what was going on or what was happening to them at all.
Yeah. I think he probably, there's a level of awareness he had, but he didn't know the whole thing because he was just
awesome. This is one of the funniest jokes, by the way. I'm not afraid of an enemy at a long distance with no will to fight, especially when they're wounded and have their backs to us. Leave it to me. Just get on with it. I love the team up of Nami and Usopp just freaking killing the people run away. Time for your watering, and then they like beat the living shit out of people escaping. It's such a good comedy gold moment. And the weather egg, drop her down to the ground, Nami. You're strong, strong, strong. That was a great pairing. They're bestest friends.
When we glossed over it, but when Usopp gave the speech, really like after that, he straight up off screen fought a bunch of mooks for the first time. He just took on enemies in like without backup on his own.
Yeah, and I'm not glossing over that shit. I think that's what I'm saying. Like Usopp had a glow up in this arc.
Like
he was just kind of stupendous.
Because even weak enemies he used to run away from.
I'm going to say a thing
like,
I've never said before.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a thing.
Okay.
I've never said before.
Okay.
He was hot.
You're agreeing with my wife now.
I didn't think I would ever agree with your wife. And let me just say, Usopp was hot in this arc.
Damn.
I don't even know how to feel about it, but it came out of my mouth. So there it is. Luffy's look with the long coat.
Pretty
my
good.
Favorite looks for Luffy. That was a good Luffy
it's a good
look.
One.
I like in this one too that we party on and everyone is just like, ooh, we get down, na 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 na, and then more bad shit happens. And I was like, but we're doing the party. But we're doing the party.
Sometimes the bad guys don't care.
It upsets me. I feel like for me, it gives that same vibe as that movie. Oh shit, the name just disappeared for me because I've put it behind the forgetting wall, which some people call repression. But it's a horror movie, The Evil Dead. They get through the night. The evil thing is there. It stalks them in the woods. It's the worst thing ever. Everyone is being murdered. This one chick makes it. She walks outside. She's standing there, and all of us, and she's like, I can't believe I made it. And the sun is up, and she's like, ah, ah, ah. And then all of a sudden we hear going through the trees. And then the very end, she looks up into the woods, something's coming at her, and she screams. It gave me that vibe. I really do feel, though, when it says new Kama Karate, secret art, 99 vital recipes, a chilled and tired body needs a pick-me-up, offal soup with sea pig meat. I really feel like Sanji is putting hockey into this food. I really feel like just like we're able to put hockey on our spear tips and other things, I think that he is able to imbibe the food in his hockey.
I'll say I'm coming around to it more and more over time as an idea. I think it's cool.
I think it just works. If you think about all the places we're claiming that hockey can be put into, it makes
especially
logic.
if we're going on the theory that hockey is not as simple as having armament and observation, that's just the way it's
I don't think it's armament or observation.
And that there is something that more ephemeral to it, that it can be seen in these ways and practiced in those ways, but that's not all it can be.
Yeah, I feel like this is true. And it changes people, and it makes them so that they have a different type of strength, and it's much more fast acting than food regularly would be. And it brings people together. Like, think about the way that it tied all the people together in that offshoot that is not real. What was it
that's
called?
Not real.
What's the thing we watched?
We watched G8, but G8's not real.
G8.
Can't be used as evidence.
But regardless of whether G8 was real, and regardless of whether you want to tell me I can't use G8,
you can't.
First of all, you know what?
Jonathan isn't real.
You know what? Bite my stale ass. Yeah. So we have a party, and we're like, everything's amazing. But I really enjoy that we have a bridge between Luffy and Law. I'm glad we made that. I'm really glad that Law and Luffy made a pact, because when we saw all the other ones packing up all of our, what did we call the kids? They called them the bad kids, the worst generation, the shitty kids, the worst generation. Because when we saw the other members of the worst generation packing up with each other, I was like, God damn. Once again, Luffy and the Straw Hats are on the outside looking in, blah, blah, blah. And then boom, Law creates this thing. I was, however, a little bit like, I agree that Luffy is captain, and therefore he should get to make decisions that are outside the purvey of his crew. But just saying, yeah, I've made this and this is going to happen, although it is very Luffy, I would like to see some improvement in that area. If I was to give Luffy a little like sidebar and be like, yo, Luffy monster, I have a little thing I'd like to point out. Maybe talk to your crew for, I don't know, 30 seconds first.
It makes sense as a deal for Luffy. Like, yeah, I want to beat up the emperors. That's my whole goal.
That's my whole goal. That's my whole thing.
Fucking got it.
100%.
Let's go.
100%. I get it. 100%. But I would really enjoy it if he maybe just had a little bit of time.
Okay. Can we be real, though? That Luffy
I said he's the captain. He's allowed to make decisions. Yeah, but RJ, he still needs to have a little 30 seconds.
Luffy's fucked over Law without realizing it, because he didn't say, hey, which emperor are we taking on? Oh, Kaido? Oh, yeah, I picked a fight with a different emperor yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so you know, by teaming up with me, you are attracting the ire of an entirely separate emperor who you don't know that I'm.
You don't even know you're in a fight with.
I declared war with an emperor like literally yesterday.
The reason that it's important to me is, even though I know that Luffy is the captain, he gets to make his choices. On the other hand, because he's given his crew so much autonomy, et cetera, he should, and he trusts them within battles. It would help us to solidify that kind of feeling about his leadership if he every once in a while just took a second and said, here what we're thinking. Just give me your opinions. I might do it anyway. Give me your opinion.
Yep.
Here we have, if you really wanted to silence me, you had plenty of opportunity. What are you using Straw Hats for? What are you starting? And then it goes, which one of the four emperors do you mean? Who's using whom? Kaido, the king of the beasts. Okay, as long as Shanks isn't first. And then Luffy goes, my plan is to crush all 4 emperors.
Yep. I'm going to fuck them all up. Nothing going to stop me.
You're going to take down all 4 emperors. Our interests might seem to be aligned here, but you're clearly taking this as a joke. These are the emperors of the sea, massively powerful figures who engaged in consistent territorial clashes with the Great Whitebeard. And Kaido, King of the Beasts, is often called the most powerful creature in the world. Huh? What do you mean he's not even human? Our alliance only lasts as long as we bring down Kaido. The chance of success is about, I'd say, 30%. That's way too low. This plan isn't worth joining, Luffy. Not at all. Luffy, I see. I see. I'm in.
Look, Luffy's gonna fight them all anyways. He's making the right call because now at least he has some help.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I
What
just
you
think
don't-
that just
yeah.
a moment
Oh,
would have been
totally.
great.
True, what you don't get is if he doesn't accept this deal, it's literally just you guys against Kaido.
Agreed. The piece with this was good. When we have Dope Flamingo come back and he finds just the heads, which eventually crash onto the bodies, and that's night. Forgive me, I wish I could die and repay my failure. You needed me and I couldn't live up to your desires. This is the yacht life from our tanker. I'm a miserable failure. Blah, blah, blah. And they go on. And then he has that conversation with Law. I admired the shit out of Law here. Like, that is some excellent political manipulation that Law has taken on with well, let's make a deal. You need to make a choice. Your most precious trading partner is Kaido, being king of the beast, one of the 4 emperors. If there's anyone to keep from getting angry, it's him. What a delicious plan Law had. That was very well constructed. And quit the 7 warlords. Oh,
wants to take away his protection.
baby. Yeah, baby. Because now, even if you go back in, what you've done is you created instability within his leadership. So even if he's like, oh, this and this happened, or I chose to do this, or I did it because of this, it doesn't matter because you created instability within his leadership when he quit. So now, if he comes back into power at any time, he's going to have to work his way up to have the same type of reputation as he did before. So regardless, he set him way back.
And right now, Dofi is in this incredibly protected position where he's important to the government and important to Kaido. So there's an emperor and the government who want Dofi to maintain his position. So Law's like, all right, lose one of those. Your choice.
I think that if Dofi gets moved way, way back, though, he's going to become very dangerous. You're going to put Dofi underground by making him a person who's had to give things up and is going to need to reclaim his reputation and is going to need to rework himself so that people still respect or fear him, because he has a need for people to revere him. That's obviously part of the character of who he is. He loves to be revered and seen as a person who makes the big moves. Like, think about how when the slave market went away and was just not working anymore and was getting the wrong kind of press, and he decided he didn't want to put his energy into that. He was just like, meh, keep it. I don't care. Because it was going to drag down his reputation as being a badass. It was about to have a failure moment. Look what happened to the dude who was doing the slave trade. We come back in time and we see that piece of crap just sitting on the ground, whining and wimping and wazzing. I can't slave. And so if he had still been attached to that, that was going to drag down his reputation. But instead, he was like, this ship is sinking. Whoa, I'm running away. So if he had to give up being one of the 7, then he is going to become extra dangerous unless he gets murderlated. So they're going to have to kill the living shit out of him unless they want him to join up with other people. Because like it or not, some of this man's power comes through the ability to not only coerce, and he has people around the world who still respect him, despite the fact that he would have just given it up. It's also just his attachments and his knowledge of other people. Like, he's got things over top of people too. There's no way that he doesn't have a ton of information. And so he has a cult of personality, and he also has his identity. He is going to be a terrifying thing using coercive power in order to pull people together. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this final fight looks like with him, because he's trying to destroy his reputation in this way. He's either going to have to continue to destroy the living shit out of it and make attack after attack on who he is and how powerful he is and make him appear weaker and weaker and easier to manipulate, or this man is going, or just mutilate him entirely. Either that, or he is going to become a very dangerous force underground.
Alrighty. We'll have to see in the arc to follow. Dressrosa.
Dressrosa.
Do we want to do...
I do like, though, that when he goes there and tries to mutilate them, what does he get of himself? Is that an Okichi?
But did you hear what Kofi suggested Okichi's been up to?
Oh. Let me try to find that page. Do you know where it is?
It's one of them.
You are the worst.
I'm drawing. I don't have it open. Oh yeah, he's not Aokiji anymore. He's Kuzan because he quit and that was
sorry. Kuzan.
Look, I get it wrong all the time. Aokiji's more fun to say than Kuzan. They're both good names though. Did you notice there was a bunch of shady people watching Caesar's feed, including one that looked a lot like one of the supernovas?
Yes, I saw that. I'm very interested to see what happens with Big Mama. The idea of having, what are we calling him? Karu?
Kuzan.
I gotta write it down. He just stays a Kiji for me, so it's time to write Kuzan down.
No, I understand. I had so much trouble shifting, and I still get it wrong all the time.
We're gonna Kuzan down the road. By Sakazuki's new naval. And this would be the greatest challenge yet. Okay, just make sure you don't take your eyes off Doflamingo. He's one of the 7 warlords and presiding king over Dressrosa. He's exceedingly rare class of pirate, unlike even the Snake Princess of Kuji. Inform Sakazuki and have the admirals mobilized. In a worst case scenario, the gears will come undone before our very eyes, and this will be the greatest challenge yet faced by Sakazuki's new naval headquarters. I've given you my warning. Hey, you men, the fact that you saw me is, you know. What? Who cares? Forget it. We didn't see anything. Yeah, why do they allow him to leave so soon? That's the exact same thing I said. Like, they fight and they set up an amazing ability to show like us and them, 2 sides of the coin, fire and ice, this land has changed forever. Like, that's great. But I'm like, and you're just gonna let him out? Freaking Garp, you were like, nope, can't retire. Are you 300 years old? Don't care. No retiring for you. Same with everyone else. But somehow suspiciously, they're letting this very young man out that easy completely.
I mean, he's in like his late 40s. He's not very young. He's just young. Yeah. Is he undercover?
He's underground now.
Are you suggesting he's an undercover cop?
You know who would make a really good underground spy?
Who's that?
Me.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Cesis thought so.
Yeah. But this dude here, he will make a really good underground spy. Do you think 44 is super young? Like, people aren't just like, oh yeah, sure, yeah,
compared to Garp, I think he's like a grown man. He's a full adult. It's just
sorry, 44 is not old enough to be retiring.
No, I mean, he didn't really retire. He quit, but
regardless, they didn't let Garp quit.
No. However, you can't just stop someone from saying I'm a pirate and leaving. Like, Garp, they guilt tripped probably, and Garp listened. Look, I am pretty sure he's undercover. However, I do kind of like to imagine the world where it's legit and we're Zeha winning on our side.
Hey, also, some person said Agent 00 Mama. Also, I've decided that if there is a thing, you and I talked about if I thought, because I think that there is a CP9, and I don't think there'd be a CP10. It doesn't sound good, but I think there would be a CP0.
Yeah, you called out of nowhere like, I don't think it would be called CP10. I think it'd be called CP0. And I was like, is that just because CP10 sounds bad? And you were like, yeah. But you're right, CP10 sounds really dumb to say.
I don't know why CP10 sounds so stupid, but CP10 sounds almost like, to me, sleepy time. CP10, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Whereas CP0, well, that's
let's
the beginning.
Because there's a moment that stuck in my head forever from the anime where Bluno walks up behind Robin and just says CP9. And that's scary.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, and CP10 sounds dumb, but
Yes, it's terrible.
CP0. Oh, now we're
Oh,
cooking.
that's scary. So
Oh,
literally my only reason when I told you before that I thought there would be other CPs other than CP9 was CP69, you funny brat. Was my only reason for deciding it doesn't go up and is a CP10 is that I think CP10 sounds stupid
you're right
and
is the thing. It's your
CP0
logic is
sounds good.
flawless. Oh fuck, I forgot to say something. To flashback when I was talking about my revelations around hockey, I had another one, which is I talked a lot about how I think Whitebeard made Law and other, or not Law, Ace and other powerful pirates on his crew weaker by forcing them to submit themselves to to Whitebeard instead of enhancing their own will and their own dreams like Luffy does. I think that ties in to why the government encourages the admirals to have their own brand of justice and pursue justice ephemerally, because if they just had to fully bend their will, they would be less powerful because they have their own motivating factor, their own justice they believe in. Their hockey can be stronger because it's their belief of justice driving them.
Exactly. I remember when we were talking and you said that, I was like, that could not be more perfect. That is like obvious as soon as you say it. Because remember I said not defining justice allows you to have a definite, I said that like way back near
like
Alabasta
Jaya long ago.
or Jaya. I was like,
Yeah.
not defining justice allows everyone to have a different form of what justice means to them, which means that you're not really all being ruled under the same idea. That hockey idea fits perfectly.
I think the government has to encourage the personal brand of justice, or they wouldn't like have it as a title.
Okay, the kid pirates all joining together, being in the newspaper. Who is collecting this news? So remember when we talked about, I talked before about how some of the power, I see you, Cat, too, I promise. Some power is the informational power.
Whoever makes the newspaper has a lot of power.
Because the connections these bastards are making, and how did they know right away about the kid pirates, on air pirates, and Hawkins pirates coming together in alignment?
You'll have to wait and see if we ever find out who makes the newspaper, but whoever it is has a fucking pile of power.
All right, hi there, YouTube. It's me, Mama Drock. Hesso. Hey, do you like this? Obs. Yeah. I know you like it. You know you like it. Everyone here knows you like it. It's actually embarrassing to sit here pretending you don't like it. Just press like.
You're embarrassing yourself.
It's just wrong, man. Just press like. Do it. And then join. Why not? YouTube is going to show you this. They probably will. Who cares? Fight against the fight. Fight the real power. Rage against the machine. Subscribe.
That's
and
then thing you should do.
And then here's what I have to say about everything in the world. Yeah, it's good having you here. I think you should come and join us on this talk. You're going to find out that we delete a bunch of stuff. It never makes it to air.
So much gets deleted.
You might not like the stuff we deleted. You might want to fight me. You might want to throw hands. I'm going to warn you. I took the hand fruit, and I'll just not tell you anything about what that is, but I don't recommend throwing hands with me. I'm just telling you that right now. Subscribe.
I've got something to say about anything.
Click.
I'm not done. People send us packages now.
Yes, right. Put up the thing.
The place you can send it to, make the name either Drock Show, Mama Drock, whatever you do. Let us know which one of us it's for. We are going to be opening any packages anybody sends us on the Patreon streams. This is a fun little bonus. All right, we ready for the top 5? Let's start. Let's start before our closing segments. We'll start with our closing segment. Give an inkling of who might be your least favorite character in this one.
Oh shit, yeah. It's hard. I had to think about this one a lot.
Yeah.
Because I really loved everyone in this chapter. I couldn't think of a single person I hated. Except there was this one dude.
This one guy.
He smelt bad because he's constantly leaking gas. I think he poops himself.
Sounds like a Shiro moment to me.
And whenever he turns into gas and floats all over the room, everyone gets pink eye.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think his name is Fart Clown, and I hate him.
Fart Clown is our least favorite character of Dressrosa. That's next. Punk Hazard Part 2.
Yeah.
We've
Take
got
that, fart clown. Who got the last word now?
row.
On the best of the best list, is it
Yeah.
going to make some people sad or happy? I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
Uh-huh.
I am putting Luffy on the tier first. He's S tier.
Damn, you can't stop putting this boy at the top. You can't
I don't
stop
know
giving
what
him
to
S
tell
tiers.
you. The kid is good. I
Well,
gave him a lower tier last time. You
yeah.
lie. You lie with your whole face.
All right. We have an S tier Luffy. Care to elaborate what Luffy's done for us this week?
Hells to the yes. First of all, he made the proper alliance. He should have, because he is effed if he doesn't have an alliance. Because I think Mama is going to be like, "Hello, my name is Big Mama.
I mean, granted,
Hold my eclair while I bite off your face."
Law doesn't even realize he's making an alliance against Big Mom is the thing.
No, but Luffy does, which is why I put Luffy that down as a qualifier for his S tier.
Fair
He knows
enough.
he's screwed. He
He
saved
did save
an
an
eel.
eel.
He saved that little bit of an eel. He had a total growth moment in this arc with his crew. This was the most I ever saw where he looked at his crew, and it was a really time skip moment where he looked at his crew and he's like, somebody was like, "Do we need to do this or this?" And Luffy was like, "Nah, they got it.
We
Go
got
do
this.
whatever." And he didn't, no butting in, no nothing, just full trust, full agency, full everything. It was a level up leadership. And it was the right place to do a level up leadership, since I would argue that this arc is all about the different
It's
types
all
of
about,
power and leadership.
yeah, power,
And that
leadership,
base.
loyalty, and trust.
It's all about those things: trust, power, leadership, and it's also about that base. Number 5 on the tier list. Number 5.
Number 5. This has to be
Make
2
way for
episodes. I
number
thought this could be
5.
1 YouTube video, but this is 2 YouTube videos for sure. Make way.
Make way. Fall back. Number 5. It is going to be Smoker.
Okay, let's talk it through. What's Smokey up to? What's old
How
man Smokes
dare
doing?
you question Smoker? I'll tell you what Smoker has been up to. Smoker was everywhere. How the hell can you even ask that? I did not particularly love the open shirt booby Smoker, but I would have appreciated if we weren't also feeling Nami up. So I'm going to give that one a pass.
It's one of those things that we both agree, if it weren't for there being 2 pervy jokes, the one is actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I agree. But Smoker was kind of instrumental in almost every one of the fights and is a real go-between. And starting in the moment when he says, like, you need to give credit for this to Luffy on, and then, what do you mean they're not going to tell people about the escape and stuff? I feel like Smoker in this particular one really starts to let people know, the Smoke Show, that he's honorable, that we can trust him, that he's doing things for the right reason. And he was everywhere. If you pick Smoker at number 5, can you pick Smoker at number 5 without picking Tashigi as also number 5? Because they're basically a unit.
Are we trying to do another thing where every single space is a double up like last
Listen,
week?
how about if I
No, that was
promise
Fishman
I am
Island.
not?
That was
That was
Fishman
Fishman.
Island.
That wasn't last week.
That was Fishman Island for sure.
How about they are a package and it's difficult to deny that?
I mean, it is, yeah.
They even switch freaking bodies.
A lot of why Smoker and Tashigi are so good here is because of their relationship. The trust that Smoker puts into Tashigi and how much effort he puts into teaching her about, like, following your personal justice.
And can I just tell you that was another opportunity for Oda to present leadership. The way that Smoker presented leadership and talked to Virgo and said, they treat you like a father and believe in you like a father. So you need to be able to, you have to stand behind them. You were going to not only crush them, but take away their ability to trust. And then he showed a bunch of ability to strengthen leadership and create new leaders when he also spent that time with Tashigi and had faith in her and her ability. So yeah, that was another one. So Smoker and Tashigi are 1-on-1. Whoop, whoop, and they're 5 together. Hold hands. Switch shirts, you creeps. Maybe wrap up. Okay, and then number 1.
Number 1?
I almost changed it. I'm just thinking. Is Law.
Okay, we skipped over it earlier. Can we briefly, if Law's number 1, talk about how fucking cool it was when he slices and you're like, oh, he cut Virgo. Oh, he cut the tank. Oh, he cut the room. Oh, he cut the island.
He cut the island. Quit talking to Mocha people. Law cut the island.
Chambers.
That was amazing.
Let's just
I couldn't even
say,
believe it.
let's just say that Virgo's defense is in shambles.
Cut the island. Oh my god. I'm putting Usopp at 2.
I think that's so valid because I get the person pitching Usopp and Nami, but they weren't like tied together for the whole arc. They were tied together for a bit at the end, and that wasn't even Usopp's coolest moment.
Number 4 is Chippity Chopper.
What did Chopper do in this section? He helped the kids, right?
Chopper spent his entire time trying to find like a cure for actually Chopper Mocha I can actually see.
That is a pairing that makes sense.
That is a pairing that does make sense to me because they did the things together. But Chopper was actually devastated by this and actually came up for a way to help the kids out long term and discovered that they were addicts.
Sense. Like I've said before, specialization literally always matters in One Piece. Like what your specialties are always matter.
Yeah.
Chopper isn't a surgeon like Law is. Law is a much, not just because of his fruit, better surgeon than Chopper. Chopper is a pharmacologist. That is his specialization in medicine. So this is his exact wheelhouse. This is where Chopper's built the function and he put his work in to help the kids. And I respect that.
Yeah. I have a weird pairing I want to make.
I'm open to hearing the pitch.
I think it should be Nami and Sanji.
I think you did that last week, and I want to hear why this week.
Okay. The reason I think it should be Nami and Sanji in number 4 is that Sanji is the one who led all the people through, even though he bitched at them for praising him because they were males. He's the one that led everybody through and actually did the heaviest lifting as far as fighting and getting everyone to safety and away from the gas. Like he took himself out for it.
Mm-hmm.
But Nami changed her role as a straw hat and kind of stepped up as a number 2 and said, no, I know that this is the direction you think we're going, but we are saving the kids. And then from that moment on, everything she did was around how are we getting them to safety? Where is everyone? Fighting in ways that Nami has never fought before.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was battle heavy this arc. And I just want to point out they also switched bodies, and Sanji felt her boobies up. Sanji felt her boobies up 1,000 times in this arc. For that
last
alone,
episode section, yeah.
For that alone, he should have to put them in the same. You should have to put them in the same category.
Mods, can we get a poll? Can we get a poll, a fast one, like a 1-minute poll, on whether or not we should lump these two together? Ad start in 3 minutes, by the way. I want a 1-minute poll on whether or not Sanji and Nami should be lumped in this section.
They're not lumped. They're hanging.
Should be hanging. Should be a group. Should be a package deal. Sami, yes or no?
Sami! Oh my god, what a name!
Do we get Sami? We got votes flooding in. It's 50-50. People have feelings about Sami being paired this week. Because last week, I feel like it's inarguable. This one, I think it's up for a poll.
No,
you know?
I think that there's a lot more to it. Like, you look at how Nami changed the direction, but start to go through it. I'm flipping through right now. Nami is wildly involved in, like, all the fights. For her comedy moment alone, people!
Guys, by 1 vote, Sammy wins. Yes,
thank the
yes,
gods.
they're tied together by 1 vote. We respect democracy when we invoke it. Otherwise, it's a dictatorship.
Yeah. That's a crazy thing, though.
By 1 vote, Sammy wins.
I really just think for her comedy gold moments alone, she should get in. Her fighting at the end, like she did a bunch of fighting, and then at the very end,
paired with Sanji those moments.
Yeah, Sanji.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying no. She just earned it. Is all I'm saying.
All right. Should
It'll
we
be the grossest
gross
and gross still. Listen to me right now.
Here.
Squishies, you
squishies are addressed.
Must have a beautiful weekend and an incredible week. Take care of yourselves this week.
Do that.
Make it a priority to make you a priority.
That's important. You should do it.
Yeah, squishies. Thank you for everything you do for us.
Thank you all so much for being here. I had a surprisingly good time talking about this. I think it was a lot of fun, and I think I came to appreciate this arc a lot more from talking to you about this, so I'm really glad. This is an arc that I wasn't that hyped on. I think we came a lot away from it, finding a lot of the depth that I hadn't noticed.
That's why we're going to sing this song. This is how we do it.
after this is the start of my favorite saga. This arc I really liked. It was my first weekly reading experience, which gives it a bit of a bummer, but you know, I think it's good. So yeah, I think we are smooth sailing from here. We're in the part of One Piece where it's kind of always good.
I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I think shit's about to get wild.
63%. Oh, shit is about to get very wild.
Yeah, I'm feeling like shit's about to get wild. I'm a little nervous. I think there's gonna be some Luffy dying moments.
So you know how in earlier One Piece when we separated into the East Blue, out from the East Blue into the Grand Line, it felt like things just kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
The exact same thing is going to happen, and you are in it now.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. When I was reading this, I was like, this is fine, this is whatever. Then I saw all the leadership pieces in it, and I was like, okay, this is good. But then I was like, oh my God, I have a feeling I'm on the edge.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. We have a blast every week. This was one of the classic, this is like the Foxy arc for Long Ring Long Land for me, because I came in being like, yeah, I'm not that hyped. And we found a lot of value in this that I hadn't noticed before, and that's always what I love most about doing this. So everybody, have a good one. Be nice to the world. Take care of yourself, as Mama Drock said. And until next time, it's been lovely talking to you.